So one of our goals this year is to take this 3-acre crop field here, and we want to turn this into a hay field instead. We're planning on getting livestock this year, and we want to be able to grow our own hay for our animals. So I don't know exactly for sure, the whole process. I've never grown hay before, so I ended up going to the county extension office, and I talked to them about the hay I wanted to grow, the livestock we were going to raise, and just kind of talked to them, made sure we were doing everything right. And they told me one thing I needed to do was to get a soil sample. And so I told them, well, where do you get a soil sample at? So they told me I just needed to go to like a farm co-op or maybe an agri-service company somewhere, and they'd be able to give me what I need to do a soil sample. So there ended up being an agri-service place just down the road, like 6 miles. And this place, they normally spread lime, spread fertilizer, and they spray fields for farmers. And so I went in there. They ended up giving me this soil sample bag. So now I've got to take this today. I'm going to put some soil in it so it can be sent off and be tested. And then after it's tested, they'll be able to tell me exactly what I need to do to amend the soil for this field. And then they should be also able to provide that to me. So they should be able to provide the fertilizers or minerals or whatever that I need to spread on this field as well. So to get the soil sample, they told me that I needed to probably pick at least 4 spots, and they wanted me to make sure that there wasn't a bunch of stuff in the soil like rocks or corn stalks and stuff like that. They just want to make sure that it's just soil in the bag. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. I'm going to go around and pick 4 spots here in the field to dig up. It was 47 degrees yesterday, so I'm hoping that the field is thawed out enough that I can dig down and get the soil. Today's 25 degrees and everything's freezing back up, so go ahead and get the shovel out, and hopefully I can get this soil sample today. So the soil actually ended up pretty easy to dig, so I was able to dig up 4 different spots, put it in this little soil sample bag, and we're going to take that back to the farm service place. They'll get that sent off to be analyzed. I'm hoping within a week or so we'll get the results back, and we'll figure out exactly what we need to do to amend the soil in this field. So we're back out here in the hayfield, our future hayfield tonight. And we did get the soil sample results back. It took about 2 weeks to get the soil test back. And the good news with the soil test is that it came back that the soil was healthy enough that it should be able to grow our hay. So we did not need to fertilize this year. They said more than likely we probably will have to fertilize next year. And then normally a lot of people would do like a 3 to 5 year rotation or whatever. They'd refertilize every so many years. Basically, I'm just going to wait and see what the soil results are next year. But this year, I don't have to do anything. So that's good news. That's something I don't have to pay for. So we got the bush hog out here tonight on the tractor. So what we're going to do is we need to prep this hay field, or prep it to plant hay. And it was an old cornfield. So we've got all these corn stalks here. This outer edge didn't grow very well. And the soil was too moist, I think, along the edges. The farmer said it was seed rot, and he does a no-till planting, and the edges are shaded. Soil was a little wetter than the rest of the field, and this didn't grow so well. So he didn't even try harvesting it. So along the edge of this field, there's all these corn stalks here, and then in the middle of the field is all the corn stalk stubbles, from where they harvested the corn. So it's anything from a foot tall or just a bunch of little pieces knocked over. So we're going to try to run the bush hog super low, and we're going to try to run it right on the ground, try to get all these stalks knocked down so we have a nice even surface. Try to maybe chop that up a little bit and get this field ready to plant for hay. So it's probably been 2 weeks now since I was out here with the tractor, and I was mowing all these corn stalks down. And boy, that was just a dusty mess. It was just incredibly dusty. I don't know if you could see that in the footage, but all those dry corn stalks and stuff, man, it was just kicking up, kept on getting in my eyes. It was just really dusty. And after situations like that, pretty much every time I mow when it's dry, I think more and more that like a cab tractor is definitely worth it in the end. I'm shopping for a used tractor. You know, I'm trying to find a used tractor that has a loader on it. I think right now I probably won't get one this year, maybe next year, but more and more I think that maybe I should be looking for one with a cab as well, because man, that would make it a lot quieter. You wouldn't have to fight the dust, and you could deal with the weather a lot better. So I think after mowing this down, I definitely will consider a cab tractor. Now you can see that this field though is completely green. It's full of weeds. So it's got a bunch of these weeds that are growing here. I'm not really sure, you know, necessarily what these things are, but we got all these like little weeds that are growing all the way up through this field. And we don't want that mixed in our hay. So we don't want to, you know, be cutting that and baling that in our hay bales. So we need to get rid of all these weeds. We need to get rid of them. And I don't want to sit out here and I don't want to plow this field and disc this field and work this field over and over to try to get rid of these weeds. That's just an incredible amount of time, and it's a lot of gas, and I'm just going to go the easy route. So I know a lot of people ain't going to want to hear what I'm going to do, but I'm going to basically use glyphosate or whatever they call that. It's basically Roundup. And this field is a no-till field. So every year the farmer will spray down the weeds and plant his seeds. So it gets a coat of Roundup every year on this field, and it has been for years. So what we're going to do basically the same thing. We're just going to spray it with Roundup. That should kill all the weeds, and then we'll plant our hay seed, and then we should have all the hay come up, and we should have hopefully a pretty much weed-free product. And then hopefully we should never have to do this again. This will be like the last application of Roundup on this field. So after that, we'll reseed it every so often, but it should stay hay. We won't just like start all over again and kill everything. So this should be the one last application of Roundup on this field, and then we'll get our hay started, and that'll be it. But so what I'm going to be using this tank sprayer. I've had this for a couple years. This is from Rural King. It's a 15-gallon sprayer, but it doesn't have a boom. You'll notice there's no boom on here. But it has this nozzle right here. Now this nozzle is cut where it actually sprays like a 15-foot wide path. So as I go through here with the four-wheeler, I should be, spraying 15 feet of weeds as I go along. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna get this. I don't know how many tanks this is gonna take, but we're gonna try to get all these weeds sprayed today, and then it should be ready for seed tomorrow if it's dry enough. So we may have rain tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. But should be able to apply it today. I should be able to plant tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the drone in the air. Let's see if I can get some aerial footage while I'm doing this. And then we'll go ahead and get this all sprayed. This is about the last thing that I need to do. There are a bunch of trees that are overhanging the field. And I know farmers deal with this every year, and they usually come in with backhoes or excavators and break the limbs off, or some big piece of equipment to cut the trees away. Well, I don't have any of that, so I am going to have to go around also. I'm going to have to cut a few of these limbs away so I can actually drive through with the tractor, because they're hanging so low I can't drive through with the tractor. So that's pretty much all we'll have to do, and this field will be ready. So I'm going to go ahead and get this sprayed. this tree limb here behind me, this like comes out and goes really low. So this is probably only like 6 feet off the ground right here, and way too low to get a tractor and a drill through here. So that is actually the neighbor's tree. It's on the fence row is right in front of it, and that's about 2 feet off of my property line. But anything that hangs over the property line is pretty much game to be trimmed off, and that's how all the farmers do it. They just kind of go along and trim the limbs up along the edge of the field that's over their property. I really don't think this guy really cares. He just came through here and they just cut down a ton of trees in there and logged it, so it's in pretty disarray anyway, so I don't even think he'd care anyway. But anyway, so I'm gonna try to cut some of these limbs off that are hanging low so I can get the tractor through here. I've got a tree that's fallen down over there onto the field that I need to cut up a little bit, and I got another tree over here to trim, and that'll pretty much have it where we're ready to plant hay. So I did call the NRCS office. That's a division, I think, of the USDA or whatever. They have a drill that we can rent, and I should be able to get that in 2 days as long as the weather permits. So we'll just have to wait and see, but hopefully if we don't, it's supposed to rain a little bit tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see how much it is and how muddy it gets. But basically, if it doesn't rain too much, hopefully here in about 3 days, I'll be planting this hay field with hay. So stay tuned, more to come. Thanks for watching. Needless to say, I don't have any heavy equipment like farmers do to be able to cut this stuff down, so I'm kind of limited.